Hello everyone. I am Saudishing. Today, let's talk about the third eye. The third eye is also known as the heavenly eye by many. In some of our folk legends, anyone who possesses a third eye or opens their heavenly eye becomes incredibly powerful. The most representative example of this is the Erlang Shun from Journey to the West and the investiture of the gods. His heavenly eye is exceptionally powerful. During his duel with Sun Wukong, he could discern the true nature of things. No matter how Sun Wukong transformed, the heavenly eye could see through him instantly. Additionally, the heavenly eye has extremely powerful offensive capabilities, capable of emitting a beam strong enough to destroy everything. However, these are just mythological stories. In religious cultures, such as Buddhism and Hinduism, the third eye also appears. For example, in Hinduism, the third eye is called the Eye of Wisdom. Many Hindu deities and statues often have a third eye located between the eyebrows. Many Hindus also put a red dot on their forehead to symbolize auspiciousness and the third eye. In Buddhism, the third eye is called the Urna, one of the 32 marks of a Buddha, also located between the eyebrows. Among the 10 disciples of Buddha Shakyamuni, there was a disciple named Anurita, who was known as the foremost in heavenly eye, capable of seeing the past and future, and penetrating the 3,000 great thousand worlds. Besides the high reverence for the third eye in our Eastern religious cultures, it is similarly esteemed in Western cultures. The Book of Revelation in the Bible mentions the third eye multiple times, even describing its functions in detail. One well-known verse says, "If your eye is sound, your whole body will be full of light." Here, the eye refers to the human third eye. In the legendary ancient civilization of Atlantis, there is mention of another prehistoric advanced civilization, the Gondwana civilization. It is said that the intelligent beings of this civilization were about 1 meter tall, with men having an emerald-colored third eye located between their eyebrows. These intelligent beings had superpowers, with functions centered on mental abilities and weaker physical attacks. In other words, their abilities were similar to the third eye functions described in various religious cultures, such as discerning the true nature of things and seeing the past and future. From this, we can see that regardless of Eastern nor Western cultures, or even more ancient civilizations, there is a consistent and unanimous description of the location and functions of the third eye. Could it be that humans once truly possessed a third eye? In fact, as early as the ancient Roman era, the famous founder of anatomy, Hero of Alexandria, conducted dissection experiments on human brains. Over 2,000 years ago, he discovered the nervous system, proving that nerves originate from the brain and traced along the optic nerve to the eyes. During this process, he discovered the pineal gland, located in the upper posterior part of the thalamus in the brain, with a gray-brown color, weighing about 0.120 grams, roughly the size of a pea, and resembling a pine cone in shape. This location coincides with the location of the Niuan Palace, described in Taoist culture in our country. Taoists believe that the Niuan Palace is the residence of the primordial spirit, or the soul, the central point of the 9 palaces, the brain of the brain, and the core of human life. In 1918, a Swedish anatomist observed the pineal glands of frogs and goldfish under a microscope, and found that the cells in the pineal gland were strikingly similar to the photoreceptor cells in the retina of goldfish, with some nerve fibers still connected. Based on this discovery, someone quickly speculated that the pineal gland in the brains of most vertebrates might be the third eye. For example, the third eye of a bullfrog is located under the skin on top of its head, also called the parietal eye, connected to the pineal gland. The third eye of a lizard is also on top of its head. Although covered by scales, it can still be found under the skin. Scientists have discovered that the primary function of the parietal eye is to distinguish time and seasons experienced by the organism, similar to the functions of a weather forecast in a calendar. The brain controls sleep, reproduction, and other time-related activities based on information transmitted from the parietal eye. The pineal gland in our brains functions similarly to these parietal eyes. In modern medicine, during brain dissection, it was found that behind the human forehead, in front of the pineal gland, there are structures identical to those of an eye, although no actual eye is present. However, it was discovered that the pineal gland can sense light. Under strong light, it becomes lighter in weight, with fewer cells and reduced function. In darkness, it secretes a hormone called melatonin, which plays an important role in regulating our biological clock and inhibiting sexual maturation. For instance, if you suffer from insomnia and visit a doctor, many doctors will prescribe melatonin to regulate your biological clock. In the past, the widely advertised product Brain Platinum, which dominated the advertising screens, mainly contained melatonin. Nowadays, it is also recommended that children do not sleep with the lights on, as it can easily cause a disruption in melatonin secretion, leading to precocious puberty. The pineal gland is quite miraculous. It is a part of the brain but lacks brain cells, cannot see light, but can sense light. Earlier, I mentioned that in the ancient Roman era, the famous founder of anatomy, Hero of Alexandria, discovered the pineal gland during brain dissection experiments. However, the first person to ponder over the pineal gland and describe its functions was not him, but the ancient Roman physician and philosopher Claudius Galen. He was the most prolific medical researcher in ancient history, and his insights and theories influenced Western medical science for over 1,300 years. In the part of his anatomical work on the use of parts of the body, he discussed the pineal gland. He explained that because this organ resembles a pine cone, with a nut-like shape and size, he called it the pineal gland. In other words, Galen was probably the first person in the world to name the pineal gland. Did you know that in one of the earliest known civilizations, the Sumerian civilization, there seemed to be a high understanding and reverence for the pineal gland? This is one of the most cited and famous Sumerian artifacts. The mural depicts the Nephilim, created by the beings from the planet Nibiru, holding a pine cone. In the Kabbalistic tree of life images of the Sumerians, the eagle god is also holding a pine cone. Additionally, in ancient Egyptian mythology, the staff of Osiris, the god of the underworld, has a top that resembles a pine cone, flanked by two kundalini serpents. Many believe it symbolizes Dhyana, hinting that the pineal gland is the convergence point of all energy. This double helix pattern is easily found in artifacts unearthed from ancient Egypt. Many believe that in ancient Egyptian civilization, people already knew that Dhyana was a double helix structure. This could also be a form of speculation, but I can't think of anything else that the top of Osiris's staff looks more like than a pine cone. Additionally, I've always thought that the clusters on Buddha's head were his hair. However, while working on these video scripts, I discovered that, according to some sources, they are called flesh mounds and are one of the 32 marks of the Buddha, similar to the red dot on Buddha's forehead. Whether they are hair or flesh mounds, don't they resemble the pineal gland? Examples like this can be found in both Eastern and Western cultures. For instance, the staff of the Greek god of wine, the 4-meter-high structure in front of the Vatican museums, and the Pope's staff all feature the pine cone motif. Thus, the pineal gland appears in mystical and sacred places in both the East and the West. The Eye of Horus is a symbol that has been passed down since ancient Egypt and is one of the most impressive symbols in Egyptian culture. As its name suggests, it is the eye of the falcon-headed god Horus. But the most fascinating part is its resemblance to the structure of the human brain as depicted in modern medical diagrams. If you think this comparison is a bit far-fetched, take a look at this diagram. Many people are astonished after seeing it. Some speculate that ancient Egyptian knowledge or technology regarding the human body might have exceeded our imagination. Earlier, I mentioned that from a scientific perspective, the main function of the pineal gland is to secrete melatonin, which regulates our biological clock. However, many believe that the pineal gland in normal people has degenerated and that by activating it through certain training, one can acquire extraordinary abilities, commonly referred to as opening the heavenly eye. Everyone is likely familiar with Bianqiu, the legendary doctor from the spring and autumn and warring states periods. According to Sima Qian's records of the Grand Historian, Bianqiu's original name was Qin Yuran, and he did not come from a family of doctors. In his early years, he managed an inn. One day, a guest named Chang Sungan arrived at the inn. It is said that Chang Sungan was also a famous doctor during the Warring States period, possessing numerous medical books and prescriptions. While all the other guests saw him as an ordinary person, Bianqiu felt he was extraordinary. The saying a master recognizes another master is apt here. Chang Sungang took a liking to Bianqiu, and the two became good friends. After years of friendship, one day Chang Sungang told Bianqiu, "I'm getting old and may pass away soon. I have a secret formula. Do you want to learn it?" Bianqiu, intrigued by the secret formula, naturally wanted to learn. Chang Sungang agreed to teach him on the condition of secrecy. After Bianqiu agreed, Chang Sungang prescribed him a 30-day course of medication. After completing the medication, Bianqiu's heavenly eye opened, allowing him to see through walls. Subsequently, Chang Sungang passed on his collection of medical knowledge and prescriptions to Bianqiu, who then began practicing medicine. The records of the Grand Historian describe it as follows: Bianqiu took the medicine as instructed for 30 days and could see through walls to diagnose illnesses, observing the internal organs, conditions as if using an X-ray. This view aligns with those who firmly believe in the heavenly eye, suggesting that activating the pineal gland could grant one the ability to see through objects and perceive things beyond normal human senses. Modern examples of such abilities also exist. In January 2004, Russia's Pravda reported on a girl named Natasha who could see inside people's bodies, detecting internal organ abnormalities. She described having dual vision, quickly switching from normal vision to another type that allowed her to see the internal structure of the body. She couldn't explain how she identified diseased organs, only that she felt different sensations from them. Her ability to see through objects only worked during the day, not at night. Another claim of the heavenly eye is remote viewing. An interesting incident occurred in 1972 when the United States organized a remote viewing experiment. The CIA recruited individuals with claimed superpowers to gather military intelligence and explore space. The project was conducted at the world-renowned Stanford Research Institute, led by physicist Drive Russell Targ and engineer Drive Harold Puthoff. Their first subject was Ingo Swann, one of the most famous psychics publicly acknowledged by the CIA. On April 27, 1973, at 6 p.m., Swann entered a hypnotic state, taking 3 minutes to remotely view Jupiter from Earth. During this session, he described a ring around Jupiter, which no astronomer or scientist had observed at the time. 7 months later, the Pioneer 10 spacecraft provided the first evidence of Jupiter's rings, making Swann the first person to discover them in a sense. There are many claims about the special abilities gained by activating the pineal gland, such as clairvoyance or seeing the spiritual realm. While these stories might sound mysterious and far-fetched, whether they are true or not is beyond my knowledge. From a scientific perspective, I personally believe that training the pineal gland using scientific methods can only be beneficial. Think about it: wouldn't better sleep improve your energy levels and concentration? Stimulating the pineal gland to increase melatonin secretion could regulate your biological clock, giving you more energy and enhancing your memory, helping you excel in your career or studies. So, how can one train the pineal gland? There are many tutorials online, but also many scammers. So be cautious not to be deceived. Now, the question is, if you could truly have a third eye with superpowers, which ability would you choose? Let's discuss in the comments below. And for those who haven't followed yet, make sure to hit the follow button. See you in the next video.